Hey everybody, G4 Video 5 here, and welcome back to some more Grand Theft Auto 3. In this part, we will be completing TOYZ's missions.
Yo, this is D-Ice of the Red Jacks. I got a problem. They trying to play me. These young punks, they come onto the streets and they got nothing but guns and spank on their minds. Nines is their tags, and purple is their flag, and each day they rock their colors is another day the Jacks look soft. I want you to show these punk-ass bitches how a real drive-by works. Take these nines off of here. Watch your back, though. There'll be Jacks on the street who'll think you're trying to blast them, too.
So this first mission from TOYZ is fairly similar to some other missions that we've done up to this point, and coincidentally, a lot of those other missions involve payphone mission givers, as Alburo has the mission called Trial by Fire, in which you have a similar format in which we have to assassinate triads, or torch triads, I should say, using a flamethrower. And then you also have the mission from King Courtney called Uzi Rider, where you have the option of using an Uzi to assassinate Diablo gang members. So, and a bit of a quick fun fact for you there is that King Courtney and TOYZ have the same voice actor, so I think that guy does a pretty good job of convincingly voicing both of those characters. So that's pretty cool stuff, but, this mission, though, has a bit of a twist on what we've seen up to this point with this rampage format, which rampages are a thing in this game that operate like what we're seeing before us, as you'll have a weapon that you need to use to assassinate a certain amount of enemies that belong to a gang, so we'll be diving into rampages a bit later on. But the major twist of this mission is that the target that we're assassinating is different than most enemies that we've seen up to this point, because the target of this mission are the Purple Nines, and the Purple Nines are aligned with the Red Jacks to create the Southside Hoods gang that occupy this area of Shoreside Vale. And they also drive these Hoods Rumpo XLs that, occasionally are trying to attack me since I'm targeting the gang, or at least they see it that way. Like me personally, I'm specifically targeting the Purple Nines, but the gang members don't know that, and TOYZ kind of warns us about that the Red Jacks are also going to think that we're targeting them, so we've got to watch ourselves as we're, going around this area of Shoreside Vale. So, it might be best to kind of pick and choose your battles and only go after Purple Nines who are kind of isolated away from Rumpo XL vehicles, as well as Red Jacks walking around the place.
Those nines are pressing me. These bitches got armored cars and now they're running spank and slinging it to brothers with no fear. There's a car parked up the way. There's some stuff in there to put these sissies on blast and wreck all their armored stuff.
So it seems that TOYZ's disapproval of the Purple Nines stems from them selling spank on the streets of Shoreside Vale, and I've got to say that's quite noble of TOYZ. He's not a fan of that drug business going on, so, he's taking action by having Claude do this stuff. So, I think that's pretty cool of him, But this mission is very similar to the Toys in the Hood van vehicle missions that are available to do in this game. And we haven't done them yet up to this point, but we will do them in a future part. But to kind of give an overview, what you end up doing is going to a parked Toys in the Hood van vehicle location somewhere at a set point across Liberty City. There's 4 available Toys in the Hood van vehicle missions, and they work just like this, where you enter the vehicle, you're given a mission, and then you're given control over one of these RC bandits, except these RC bandits can explode, so that is how, you go after the target of whatever mission you're doing is. So there's one of those Toys in the Hood van vehicle missions where you go after Mafia Sentinels, so you use these RC bandits to explode Mafia Sentinels. So, this mission is just like those missions, except instead of having a broad target like Mafia Sentinels, we have 3 specific targets, and we also have a set number of buggies, as the mission refers to them as. So that means that there's little room for error, but, you know, you still get an extra opportunity just in case you need it, in case the RC bandit happens to flip over, or, you know, you just find yourself in an awkward situation, so you accidentally or purposely explode your RC bandit, so you can kind of reset yourself and get yourself back on track to where you need to get to, because, you know, it's a little unfortunate with this game how there's no in-game map, so, you know, whether or not these, you know, security cars that we're going after are, you know, below us or behind us or, you know, in a certain neighborhood. I mean, you really don't know until you get very close to them. So, you know, there might be a lot of back and forth traveling where you take a wrong turn because you thought one of the security cars was going to be at a certain location, but then they end up being, like, in that general direction, but in an inaccessible location from where you're currently at. You know, I mean, it's just, it's a bunch of trial and error, basically, but, you know, I think I got pretty lucky with my pattern here, as these security cars were in pretty nice locations. I know sometimes the security cars can go into the Porter Tunnel, which is where the confusion can kind of come into play, because it's like, you go to one part of the map where you see the dot at, and then you're looking around and it's like, where the hell is this thing? You know, you can't find it. And then it's like, oh yeah, the Porter Tunnel runs through here. So they, you know, are actually in the Porter Tunnel. And then it's like, by the time you get to the Porter Tunnel, they're already somewhere else in Shoreside, Vale. So, you know, this mission can be a bit of a pain in the ass, but, you know, thankfully for me, and during this attempt, it wasn't too bad.
So, there you go.
Let's go, Cracker! Yo, check it out.
Some FSY my wheels to blow. If I lose those wheels, my rep on the street will be dead. Pick up my car and take it over to the garage on St. Mark's, alright, yo? Let them defuse that. Let them take care of that bomb. The clock's ticking and the wiring is messed up. One pothole too many and that thing could blow. Now move it!
Ooh, so there's that infamous location here in Liberty City, rearing its ugly head once again, as we've got to travel to St. Mark's to take TOYZ's Infernus, as it's rigged with a bomb, and a garage located there can help deactivate that bomb. So, you know, it's an intimidating concept on paper, but it's actually not too terribly bad in action, as the most difficult part about this mission, I think, is just getting on over to St. Mark's, because the way this Infernus works is that it's incredibly sensitive to damage, so if you even crash into a light pole, I mean, there's a good chance that this thing's gonna blow up on you. So by, you know, knowing that, it makes perfect sense, obviously, to go down a 90-degree slope like that, to take a quick route on over to the Porter Tunnel instead of taking the long way around, am I right? Yeah, I mean, it's probably not the best idea to do that, but, you know, if you do decide to do that, you know, just make sure to be careful in the Porter Tunnel, because these lane changers can really screw you over by causing damage to your vehicle very quickly. So, you know, you gotta kind of be a bit patient as you're traversing this area. And the reason why I say this part of the mission's the most difficult part is because once you actually get to St. Mark's, you're gonna notice that the gang hostility has been turned off. And that not only applies to the Mafia, but it also applies to the Triads, to the Diablos, to the Colombian Cartel, to the Arties. All gang hostility towards Claude is turned off, specifically during this mission. So this mission is actually a great opportunity to explore their territories, you know, of gangs that are angry at Claude and that attack him on sight, because, you know, like I mentioned, during this mission, they won't be doing any of that, so that's quite nice. And it allows you to kind of get some hidden packages that are deep into some of these gangs' territories that would normally be, you know, quite problematic getting to, so, you know, it's quite nice, too, that, you know, after completing TOYZ's mission strand, you can actually continuously replay this mission, you know, to kind of give yourself an opportunity maybe later on to set aside some time to collect hidden packages. So you could just do this mission normally the first time around, and then complete TOYZ's mission strand, and then get to that point where you could just replay this mission as much as you possibly want to. So it's very cool how the game allows you to do that. How it, they allow you to replay that mission, or this mission specifically, after completing D-Ice's missions. So, I mean, it's not out of the ordinary, as with all the payphone mission givers in this game, except for Marty Chunks. You could replay their missions, but it's especially cool that you can constantly replay this mission specifically after completing D-Ice's missions. So, a little cool thing that you can do also is that normally when you drop off this Infernus at that spot in the parking lot, this Infernus ends up locking on you, so there's a little trick you can do. Not that this Infernus has any special properties or anything, but, I mean, it's a nice vehicle. It's a flashy sports car, so, maybe you'd be interested in it. But a way of unlocking this vehicle is just to take it on over to your garage at your safe house, let the garage close on it, and then that resets the lock, so you can just get in and get out again as if it were a normal vehicle.
Yo, a Federal Reserve flight just smashed down at Francis International. There's platinum all over the strip. Get a car and snatch up as much as you can. You can drop the bling off at one of my garages. This platinum is mad heavy and it'll slow your wheels down some, so make regular drop-offs at the garage.
Oh man, this is such an odd concept for a mission, because apparently a cargo plane has dropped its platinum around Pike Creek. So D-Ice sees this as an opportunity for us to take some of that bullion that's scattered around the place and take it on over to a garage that he has nearby. So I don't know, it's a really silly mission, I think, but I enjoy it though. And a recommendation for this mission would be to use something like the Rumpo XL that we're currently using, which is the vehicle that belongs to the Southside Hoods. And it's just that the Rumpo has this nice, balance between speed and acceleration, as well as thickness, I suppose, as it's recommended to use bigger vehicles. You want more girthy vehicles, so that way you can be less affected by the bullion that you're picking up, because the more bullion that you pick up, the more it's going to weigh down your vehicle. So if you're using something like a sports car, I mean, that thing, like a Banshee, is just going to be super impacted by the bullion to where you really can't gather that much of it before you practically are unable to move because you're being weighed down so much. But with something like the Rumpo, I mean, you need to collect a minimum of 30 stacks of these things, and theoretically you could collect all 30 stacks in one go using something like this. Now, it's not something I'd recommend because, even though this thing is pretty decent, even after collecting a lot of stacks of bullion, it's it still gets slowed down enough to where the cops can catch up to you, and if they're in a position to where they can arrest you, I mean, it's pretty easy for them to do that, so I wouldn't really recommend getting all 30 at once, but it's definitely doable. I mean, I collect a pretty decent amount right here. I got 26 on my first go, so the method I use to complete this mission is to just collect as much as I can, at least safely, during my first go, so I, go through the massive piles of bullion scattered around the place, and I basically just make my way on over to the garage and collect as much as I can, then I drop off whatever I have, and then more often than not, my second trip, I don't end up having to collect that much bullion. Like you can see, I collected 26 on my first go, so on my second go I only had to collect 4 stacks of bullion. And there is no bonus if you happen to collect more than 30 stacks of bullion, so it's not worth the time or effort to attempt doing that. So yeah, pretty fun little mission here.
Them knives are down to a few scabby herds, but they still want to bring it. They agreed to go toe-to-toe. A gang of them against 2 of us, or rather, 2 of y'all. I'd join you, but I ain't due for my parole hearing for another 3 months, know what I mean? Go and meet my baby brother. He'll show you where they're fighting at, alright, son?
Oh, look at that. We got a little bit of backstory to D-Ice. He's incarcerated. He's due for his parole hearing in about 3 months. And he apparently has a brother who's very likely been handling Red Jack operations while he's been locked up on the inside. So we're going to meet up with this little baby brother at our safe house.
Yo, I said you was coming. There are rules. Facts only. No guns, no cars. This is a battle for respect. You cool? Let's go crack some skulls.
So I've got to say, despite not being a fan of boar ball bats, I do like the concept of what we have going on here. You're fighting alongside D-Ice's baby brother, and you're having this epic baseball bat showdown between yourselves and this handful of purple nines who are like the last of their kind. And it's in this secluded area of Shoreside Vale at this dirt parking lot, so it's just, it's really exciting, honestly. It's a really, really cool thing what we have going on here. So I am a fan of this business, but let me tell you, I am not a fan of the purple nines glitch that happens after completing D-Ice's mission strand. So what that entails is that if you've completed D-Ice's mission strand and you saved your game, and let's say you have a sibling or someone that wants to start up a new game, so you click on the new game option in the menus, and eventually they'll play through the game, and once they get to this point in the game of doing D-Ice's missions, they will notice that no purple nines will spawn in, which means that they won't be able to complete the first mission for D-Ice, as that requires you to kill purple nines using an Uzi. So they're basically going to get screwed out of 100% because you've started a new save file while a memory card was in that had this mission strand completed. So a way of combating this is to turn off your PlayStation, remove the memory card that has the save file of D-Ice's missions being completed, and then turn on the PlayStation, load up a new game, and then when you're ready to save that new game, that's when you put in the memory card to save to one of the save slots available. So, it's a bit of a workaround there, but it is possible to, ensure that you don't have the glitch happen to you. So, with all that being said, we have now completed D-Ice's missions, and in the next part we will be doing the off-road vehicle missions that are available across Liberty City, so until then, I will see you next time.